Right, okay. So we were continuing Kapitel Tes Vav. So just to give a little bit of a recap from last week, we said that Dovid HaMelech said, Hashem mi yogur ba'ahalecha u'mi yishkain bahar kochecha. So we explained that Dovid HaMelech's question over here, what he meant to say was there's two different things in our lives, in the navigating our growth, our spiritual growth in life. We said that there are two factors. There's mi yogur ba'ahalecha. We said mi yogur ba'ahalecha means who goes for a sojourn, who stays temporarily ba'ahalecha in the Rabbeinu Shalom's oihel, in the Rabbeinu Shalom's tent. And we said that that's a reference to the Bais HaMikdash. And then mi yishkain bahar kochecha, and then who can go dwell, who can go live bahar kochecha, outside the precincts of the Bais HaMikdash. And what we explained is that you go to the Bais HaMikdash to get a recharge. You go to the Bais HaMikdash to get an inspiration, to recharge your batteries. But you have to be able to go to the Bais HaMikdash and you have to have eyes to see. And like I explained last week, what we always have to remember is that the great challenge of our lives, is that we live in a Gashmiistic world. And we have to exist in this Gashmiistic world, but we have to use this Gashmiistic world for Ruchniistic growth. So really, we want to live by the dictates and by the rules of the Neshama, of Ruchnius. And to live a Ruchniistic life, very often you have to go against what your Gashmiistic eyes see. A great example, somebody has to take out time to do mitzvahs. He has to take out time for Torah learning. And he says, I don't have time. I come home late and I have to leave early. And
do you know where we're at? No.
Tesvav. 15. You know, so I don't have time. Or when it comes to money, somebody has to spend money on mitzvahs. Somebody wants to give money for tzedakah. Somebody has to spend money on matzah. Somebody has to spend money on lulav and esrog. And the Gashmiistic eyes say that it's difficult. The Gashmiistic eyes say I have to run out of davening early. The Gashmiistic eyes say that I don't have time for daf yomi. The Gashmiistic eyes tell me that this is good and this is tempting and everything else. But we have to be able to live by the dictates of a Ruchniistic life. We want to be able to live by what works for the neshama, by what works in Ruchnius. So very often we have to look and we have to say, even though this looks like something difficult, even though this looks like something I don't have the money for, even though this looks like something I don't have the time for, but we have to say, no, we work by Ruchnius, we work by the Rabbeinu Shalom's rules. If I take out time and I give time to the Bari Olam, if I give time to the Rabbeinu Shalom, and I take out the time to go learn Daf Yomi, I take out the time to go to a Chavrusa, that will make the Rabbeinu Shalom give me more time. That won't make me have less time. So he said that that's what you see when you go to the Bais HaMikdash. When you go to the Bais HaMikdash, you go ahead and you see you see nisim. You see things that don't work in the natural world. You go to the Bais HaMikdash, and like I said, one of the things that everybody got to see in the Bais HaMikdash, it says that when they went to be Oile Regel, when the Yid went up to the Bais HaMikdash on Yom Tov, the Shosh Regalim, on Pesach and Sukkot and Shavuos, the Kaihanim would take the Shulchan. Inside the Heichal, inside the Bais HaMikdash, there was the Shulchan, so a special table that had the Lechem Apanim on it, and you had 12 loaves of the Lechem Apanim, and the Lechem Apanim had a nace that they baked it on Erev Shabbos, and it stayed hot and fresh all week. So you had steaming fresh loaves that were there the whole week. And the Kahanim actually took the Shulchan out when the Yidden came. A Yisrael can't go into the Heichal, can't go into the Bais HaMikdash proper. So a regular Yisrael would never have a chance to see this. But the Kahanim would take the Shulchan out of the Heichal, and they would bring it out, and they would show them. They would say, look how chaviv you are to the Rabbeinu Shalom, look how beloved you are to the Rabbeinu Shalom, look at the nisim that the Rabbeinu Shalom makes. So you went to the Bais HaMikdash and you saw nisim. You saw things that defied the natural rules, the natural laws of the world. And why? You went to see this so that you should know. Don't worry about keeping Shabbos. Don't worry about taking out time for davening. Don't worry about taking out time for Daf Yomi. Don't worry about spending money on Shabbos. Don't worry about spending money on tzedakah. Don't worry about all of these things, because you're not bound by natural law. You're not bound by it. Ultimately, the Rebbeinu Shalom takes care. So that's what you go to the Bais HaMikdash to see, and that's the mi yagor ba'alecha. Who is it that could go to the Bais HaMikdash with open eyes and go ahead and learn these lessons, and then mi yishkain bahar kochecha? Who could then take those lessons out of the Bais HaMikdash and bring those lessons back home with him and live by those lessons? So you go to the Bais HaMikdash to recharge those batteries, and then you got to bring that inspiration home, and you have to be able to live all year long. You got to be able to live that kind of life. You have to be able to live by those rules. So Dovid HaMelech wants to know, what are the prerequisites? Who is the person that can do this? Who is the person that's worthy of this? So the first thing that Dovid HaMelech says in Pasuk Beis is, he says, Holech Tamim. The person who goes with Tamimus. Tamimus, I would say that there's two different ways to translate it. You could translate Tamim as simplistic. We know that by the Pesach Seder we speak about the Daled Banim, the 4 children. We say that one of them is a Tam. A Tam we translate, I don't like the English, some of the English Haggadahs where they put it down as a simpleton. A simpleton sounds like a dimwit, for lack of better terminology. It's not a simpleton. It's simple. There are people that are simple. There are people that are pashut. There are people that are complicated. There are people that think into everything and they're very complex and very. And there are people that are simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
One of my landlords was very. To me, in that way, and the Yerushalayim was phenomenal because they weren't so caught up in all the stuff.
Simple, right? So that's one definition of tamim, which is simple. Another is like the pasuk says by Avram Avinu, Hisalech lefanai v'heyei samim, samim of perfect faith, that your emunah should be complete. So there's two different ways to translate holech tamim. The Radak, I love the words of the Radak over here. The Radak says, Holech Tamim, V'hatamim hu mi sheyisasek be'inyonei ha'olam hazeh b'tmimus. You want to know who the Tamim is over here that Dovid HaMelech is talking about? He is somebody who all of his engagements in olam hazeh, anything that he does that has anything to do with olam hazeh. So, he has a job, he works for a living to make his parnasa. Whatever it is that he does that's an involvement in olam hazeh, olam hazedik involvements. Mi sheyisasek b'inyonei ha'olam hazeh b'tamimus. He goes about his olam hazedik involvements in a very simple way. And then he goes on to define that with another phrase. Shelo yamik b'machshavtoi b'tachbulos ha'olam. He doesn't think deeply into the tachbulos ha'olam. Tachbulos ha'olam are the schemes and the plans of olam hazeh. It's two very different approaches to olam hazeh. There's a simple approach to olam hazeh. What's a simple approach to olam hazeh? I always love the story of somebody that I know who was learning in Koil for a number of years, and then he needed to go into business. He needed to support his family. He decided it was time for him to go into business. He had no business experience. He didn't have any business knowledge, and he had no way of knowing what he should go into. Happens to be that his father, who was also a wonderful, wonderful person, does have business experience and also immense chinuch experience and Torah experience, but also a successful businessman. So he asked his father-in-law, "You have any idea what I could go into?" Well, his father-in-law is sitting in the house, thinks for a minute, and then he says, "Umbrellas." So the son-in-law says, "Umbrellas?" He says, "Yeah, everybody needs an umbrella. Every house has 10 umbrellas in it. And, you need an umbrella, your wife needs an umbrella, the kids need umbrellas, you need extra umbrellas, and then you lose umbrellas, and you buy new umbrellas, and you have to have an extra umbrella for the guest, and for this and that. So every house has a stash of umbrellas. Go into umbrellas. Go into umbrellas. I don't even know where to start. Well, call up China, call up a sourcer, find out who can make umbrellas, and try to make an umbrella cheaper than other people are making umbrellas. Or, make a decent quality umbrella at a cheaper price point, and then you'll start from there and you'll see where it goes. All right. This fellow went into umbrellas, and since then he's branched out into lots of other things as well, very nicely for himself, very, very nicely. So he asked his father-in-law, "What on earth gave you the idea that I should go into umbrellas?" He says, "I'll tell you the honest truth. I was sitting by the table, and you asked me what you should go into. I had no idea what you should go into. It happens to be that I'm sitting by the table, you're standing over here facing me, and behind you was the front door. And next to the front door on the floor, there were two umbrellas. So I saw the umbrellas, so I said, umbrellas!" He says, "If mommy would have left her slippers by the front door, I would have looked and I would have said, slippers!" He says, there's no difference. It makes no difference. It makes no difference what you go into. It doesn't matter if it's slippers, or if it's umbrellas, or it's toast, or it's packaging products, or it's Matchbox cars. It doesn't matter what you go into, because all it is hishtadlus, and it's a vehicle for the Ribbono Shel Olam to attach bracha to. You got to give the Ribbono Shel Olam a vehicle. You want to get bracha, you got to give this up. You got to have a vehicle for the bracha to attach itself to. So you do umbrellas. So now umbrellas will be the vehicle. If not, the slippers will be the vehicle. But that's all it is. All it is a vehicle. That's what it means that Misha Yisasek be'inyonei ha'olam hazeh b'tmimus. He goes about his engagements in Olam Hazeh in a very simplistic fashion. Shelo yamik b'machshavtoi b'tachbuloi sa'olam. Doesn't get all involved in all, but this and but that. I have a favorite vart that I say over from a Gemara in Brachas. I'm sure I've said it in the past. The Gemara in Brachas says that it's telling you Dovid HaMelech's daily schedule. Very interesting piece of Gemara. It says that Dovid HaMelech would be davening and learning, all night, and he would get up early in the morning, and the Chachmei Yisrael. And I can't think of too many places where the Chazal make reference to the Chachmei Yisrael, the wise men of Klal Yisrael. They talk about Zkenim, they talk about Tzurvim Rabbanan, they talk about Tamid Chachamim. This is Chachmei Yisrael. It says the Chachmei Yisrael would come into Dovid HaMelech, and they would come to him with a very pressing problem. They told him, Amcha Yisrael tzrichin parnasa. Dovid HaMelech, you're the king. People need parnasa. There are people that don't have. People need parnasa. King, what are you going to do? What should we do, king? So Dovid HaMelech said, Leichum esparnasin zemizeh. Let them go do business with each other. Okay? So the Chachmei Yisrael said back, Ein ha'ari masbia, ein ha'koimitz masbia es ha'ari. A handful of food cannot satisfy a lion. Ve'ein ha'bor mismalei mechuliyasei. And you can't fill up a pit by taking dirt from the pit. That was, you have an empty pit, and you need dirt to fill the pit up. You want to fill the pit up. So a genius will come and say, okay, go to the bottom of the pit, dig out dirt, and then you'll have dirt. And then put the dirt back into the pit. Obviously, you can't fill up a pit by digging out dirt from the pit and putting it back into the pit. So the Chachmei Yisrael told him, the people need parnasa. Dovid HaMelech said, let them go do business one with the other. They said back, you can't satisfy a lion with a handful of food, and you can't fill up a pit with dirt that comes from the pit itself. Mepharshim say, what did they mean? They meant, Dovid HaMelech, we're telling you people need parnasa. You're telling them go do business with each other. We're telling you that we need to bring in outside money. We don't have enough money. There's not enough money to go around. We got to bring in outside money. We can't take money just from the pit. There's not enough money in the pit. So Dovid HaMelech said, oh, okay. So Dovid HaMelech came up with a new answer. L'chu pishtu yidechem bigdud. Go fight a war.
Well, that's what America does.
What?
That's what America does.
Right.
You fight a war, they get rich.
Go fight a war. Go fight a war. War, the defense contractors make money. Now you got to build planes, and you got to make bullets, and you need guns, and all of this stuff costs a fortune. And what I read, aircraft carrier, $13 billion. $13 billion. $13 billion. You have any idea how much money that is? $13 billion. Okay, so go fight a war. He says, but you're going to fight a war. He says, but first you should go to Achitophel. Achitophel was the master strategist. So go to Achitophel and get a strategy. Then go to the Sanhedrin and ask Sanhedrin Rishus, ask Sanhedrin's permission to go fight the war, so that Sanhedrin should be mispal for you. And then go to the Kehanim and have the Kehanim check with the Urim V'Tumim if you're going to be successful in the war. This whole conversation sounds like one for the books.
No, I mean, it's so funny. I feel like, did the government need this to figure out how?
You go to Dovid HaMelech, you ask them, people need parnasa. Dovid HaMelech's answer, go do business. On the one hand, it sounds like a very simplistic answer. Then they come back with this highfalutin, you can't satisfy a lion with a handful of food, and you can't fill up a bar, and then he says go to war. Like what? If somebody would testify in Congress today by the impeachment hearings that this was the kind of discussion going on between Trump and somebody else, that say he's a nutcase. I mean, what is, and then nutcases too. I mean, what kind of conversation is this? It sounds like a very offbeat conversation. So I always said, I'll tell you what pshat the conversation is. They came to Dovid HaMelech and they said, Dovid HaMelech, we have a problem. There are poor people. There are people who need parnasa. Am Yisrael tzrichen parnasa. So Dovid HaMelech said to himself, look, there are people that are aniyim. Ki lo yechtala evyain, the pasuk says, mikarav amecha. There are always going to be poor people. You have people that are poor people. For whatever reason, the Rebbeinu Shalom made that this person is a poor person. He says, but I may have a way to help them. Leichu misparnesin zemizeh. Make sure when you go into a business venture, you go into a business venture with another Yid. Why? Because then maybe you'll be successful in his chus. Because you have Reuven and Shimon. Reuven is poor, Shimon has money. You tell Reuven, you know what, for whatever reason, you don't seem to have the zechuyos, so whatever it is, the Rebbeinu Shalom is not giving you money right now. But maybe if you go into business with Shimon, maybe in order to benefit Shimon, maybe once the Rebbeinu Shalom is making Shimon successful, he'll make you successful. That was Dovid HaMelech's answer. The Chachmei Yisrael, the wise men, I don't know who these are, these wise men, they said back to Dovid HaMelech, you clearly have no understanding of economic theory. You clearly don't have a PhD in economics. We're bureaucrats. We've been working for the government for decades. We studied, economic philosophy, and we have PhDs and everything else. And we're telling you, Ein hakomitz maspias ha'ari. You can't feed a lion with a handful of food. It ain't a bar mismale mechuliyasai. Highfalutin. So Dovid HaMelech said, oh, I get it. You are not tamim. You are not tamimistic people. You see, me, I'm a tamim. I'm simple. When it comes to olam hazeh, I'm simple. You need parnasa. Parnasa comes from the Rebbeinu Shalom. What you need to do for parnasa is you need to make ishtadlus. So I'm telling you, make ishtadlus. But I'm giving you a trick. Make ishtadlus together with another yid. Maybe in that yid's chus you'll make money. He says, but me, I'm simple. You're complex. You're coming to me with economic theory. You're coming to me with PhD talk. He says, okay. So guys like you, I have a different answer for. You want to make money? You need a lot of ishtadlus. You're not going to make it with a little bit of ishtadlus because you don't have a munin b'tachin. So you know what? Go fight a war. When you fight a war, there's money in war. There's money in defense contracting. There's money in spoils. There's money in war. Wow. But when you go to war, you got to pick up a gun. And you got to put yourself on the front line. And you got to take risks. And you got to take chances. Now, me, I wouldn't do that. David HaMelech fought wars. But I'm not going to fight a war for money. I fight wars. I fight the Rebbeinu Shalom's wars. Those are the wars that I fight. You go fight a war for money. Because that's the level of ishtadlus that you're going to have to make. And then, Even after you make that ishtadlus, that's why I'm sending you to Achitophel. Because you need strategy. He says, me? I don't need strategy. God tells me to fight a war. I think that there's a war that I got to fight for the Rebbeinu Shalom. I take out my sword, I go. I didn't have any strategy when I went to Goliath. I didn't go to Achitophel and ask Achitophel. You don't find in the Psukim that Dovid HaMelech looked at Goliath and said, I'm 5'6", he's 12'9", the trajectory of the stone, he took what he had. They gave him armaments, they were too heavy. They gave him a sword, he couldn't lift it. So he had a slingshot. He took a slingshot, he put it on a rock, he threw it, it killed Goliath. So he says, me, I'm a simpleton. I'm very simple. You guys are not. Go to Achitophel, get a strategy, then go to the Sanhedrin, because you're going to need their tefillas. The Rebbeinu Shalom not doing nothing for you. You're going to need tefillas from the Sanhedrin. And then go to Kahanim and frag by the Urim V'Tumim, because you're not getting anything simple. So that's what the Radak says over here. A Tamim, who is the person who's capable of learning the lesson of the Bais HaMikdash? Who is the person who's capable of living a ruchniistic life and not being imprisoned by a gashmiistic life? Who is that person? The Tamim. The person who could approach Olam Hazeh with tamimus. The person who doesn't get caught up in everything that's Olam Hazeh related. And instead his whole approach to Olam Hazeh is tamimus. Simple. Not worried. Simple. That's the person who could be mi yoger ba'alecha or mi yishkain b'har kochech. That's the Radak's explanation. The Malbim says over here, another angle, he says the Tamim is referring to mitzvah shebein adam l'makom. When you do mitzvahs that are between you and the Rebbeinu Shalom, keeping Shabbos, that's ben adam l'makom. There's nothing to do with ben adam l'chaveroi. It's not your interactions with other people. It's your interactions with God. You put on tefillin, you learn Torah, shmiras haloshen. These are things of ben adam l'makom. So when you do your mitzvahs ben adam l'makom, tzarich sheyihiyeh holech tamim. You have to do your mitzvahs with tamimus. What does that mean? Shegeder at-tamimus, what it means over here, tamimus, sheyaseh kol maisav l'shem Hashem bilvad. Everything that you do, when you do mitzvahs ben adam l'makom, should be l'shem Hashem. They should be l'shma. B'li shum pniya chitzonis, without any ulterior motives. Your mitzvahs have to be pure. Your mitzvahs have to be tamim. And I think what I'm reading between the lines in the Malbim is that he's translating tamim not as simple, but he's translating tamim as complete or pure. Your mitzvahs have to be tamim. What does that mean? So, I always go back to something that Rav Moshe Zechet Tzadik Livracha said in the Shmuz. Rav Moshe said in the Shmuz before Slichas once, he said, Dovid HaMelech, we say in Slichas, we say on Yom Kippur, we say in all the days of Slichas leading up to Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, we say Shema Keleinu. And in Shema Keleinu we have a pasuk, V'ruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu. The Ruach HaKodesh, your Holy Spirit, you should not take away from us. Now, Rav Moshe points out that the composer of this pasuk is Dovid HaMelech. Dovid HaMelech says it in Tehillim. But there's a major change between the way we say the pasuk and the way Dovid HaMelech said the pasuk. Dovid HaMelech said the pasuk b'lashon yachid. He said it in the singular. He said not just the singular, but the individual. He said, V'ruach kodshecha al tikach mimeni. He asked the Rebbeinu Shalom, I did an Avera, and I'm davening to you, you should not take your Ruach HaKodesh away from me. We say, V'ruach kodshecha al tikach mimenu. Do not take the Ruach HaKodesh away from us. So first, Rav Moshe pointed out, based on the Gemara and Brachas, that this is the way we're supposed to be mispal. When we incorporate something into the davening, we don't daven for ourselves alone. When we daven for something for ourselves, we daven for the tzibur. The Gemara in Brachas is talking about Tfilas HaDerech. And in the first text that's given for Tfilas HaDerech, in the Gemara, everything is written in the individual. Everything is written, me, myself. And then the Gemara changes it, and the Gemara says, mi menu. Shetolichenu l'shalom, v'sadvichenu l'shalom. Not shetolicheni, that the Rebbeinu Shalom should lead me in peace. It's us. So that's why we change it from mimeni to mimenu. But Rav Moshe asks another question. He says, Dovid HaMelech said, V'ruach kachach al tikach mimeni, because Dovid HaMelech had Ruach HaKodesh. Dovid HaMelech could ask the Rebbeinu Shalom, don't take your Ruach HaKodesh away from me. He says, we're Pasha Yidden. How do we ask the Rebbeinu Shalom, V'ruach kachach al tikach mimenu? We're asking the Rebbeinu Shalom to take Ruach HaKodesh away from us. What Ruach HaKodesh? We have Ruach HaKodesh that we're asking that the Rebbeinu Shalom shouldn't take away? And Rav Moshe answered that yes, we all have Ruach HaKodesh. Every single one of us has Ruach HaKodesh. What does that mean? So Rav Moshe said, what is this Ruach HaKodesh that we talk about? We say, Dovid HaMelech, he wrote Tehillim with Ruach HaKodesh. Avram Avinu, well, he saw Ruach HaKodesh. Moshe Rabbeinu, Ruach HaKodesh. Me, Ruach HaKodesh. Well, what do I have to do with Ruach HaKodesh? Says Rav Moshe, what is Ruach HaKodesh? Ruach HaKodesh is the Kedushas Yisrael that every Yid has. Every Yid is sanctified with Kedushas Yisrael. Every Yid has the Kedusha of a Yid. That's a Kedusha. You look at a non-Jew on the street, he doesn't have that Ruach HaKodesh. We have Ruach HaKodesh. Every one of us has inside us Kedushas Yisrael. You know, when the Kohanim get up on Yom Tov to go duchen, they make a bracha. They say, Asher Kedushanu b'mitzvah Yisav, right? Asher Kedushanu b'kedushasai shel Aharon. He sanctified us with the Kedusha of Aaron HaKohen. What does that mean? A Kohen is different than a Levi. A Kohen is different than Israel. He has a Kedusha of a Kohen. The only reason he could do Birchas Kohanim is because he has the Kedusha of a Kohen. I can't get up. I can say Yivarech Hashem Yishmerecha from now till the cows come home. But I'm not a Kohen. I don't have the Kedusha of a Kohen. A Kohen has the Kedusha of a Kohen. We're Yid. We have Kedushas Yisrael. A non-Jew doesn't have Kedushas Yisrael. That Kedusha that we have, that Kedushas Yisrael, depends what you do with it. If you cultivate it, and you nourish it, and you grow it, then it grows to the Ruach HaKodesh that we talk about when we talk about a Dovid HaMelech and an Avram Avinu and a Yitzchak Avinu and a Yaakov Avinu and a Moshe Rabbeinu. If chas v'chalila you starve it, and you don't water it, and you don't take care of it, chas v'chalila, I don't want to say it could die, because I guess at a certain level it always remains, but it'll wither away. And that's why we ask the Rebbeinu Shalom, no matter what, the V'ruach kachach al tikach mimenu. Don't take the Ruach HaKodesh away. Let us maintain that Ruach HaKodesh. But then Rav Moshe said, how do you nourish your Ruach HaKodesh? How do you feed your Ruach HaKodesh? So Rav Moshe said in that shmuz, the key to feeding the Ruach HaKodesh is how you do mitzvahs. And he spoke in that shmuz about what he called a kalta mitzvah, a cold mitzvah, and a varma mitzvah, a warm mitzvah. He says, if you do a mitzvah with varmkeit, if you do a mitzvah and you do it with a machshava, with thought, that I'm doing something because this is the Ratzon HaBorei. Two different people put on tefillin in the morning. You know, I just had the Gemara today. Chasidim Rishonim waited an hour before davening. What does that mean that they waited an hour before davening? It means that they came to daven, and before they would get up, they came to daven mincha. Before they would get up to daven Shemona Esrei by mincha, they would sit for an hour. Now, they didn't sit for an hour in shmuz. They didn't sit for an hour and shoot the breeze with the other guys in shul. They sat for an hour. They learned Torah. They thought into, I'm about to stand in front of the Rebbeinu Shalom and talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom and daven. Chassidim Rishonim spent an hour preparing for tefillah. And halach it's brought down. That's Chassidim Rishonim. Chassidim, we don't have to wait that long. The Gemara says. And halach it says. I don't know. I can tell you. I don't know. But in halach it's brought down. That's a mila of Chassidim. We don't have to wait an hour. He says, but you have to sit down and you have to wait and you have to daven b'hachna. You have to prepare yourself. You have to come to daven with humility and with an understanding that you're about to stand in front of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Two different people put on tefillin in the morning. One guy puts on tefillin. Hi, what's doing? Yeah, woke up a little late this morning. What's going on? Yeah, I'm going to have a crazy day today. Yeah, I know. Oh, you saw what happened yesterday? Yeah. Tefillin. This is tefillin. What do you think about that thing that we heard yesterday? All right, let's dive a little. Was he Mekayim the mitzvah of putting on tefillin? Well, he put tefillin on, made a bracha. No. Not going to call him what the Gemara says, a person who doesn't put on tefillin, kakafta d'leimunach tefillin, a carcass that didn't put on tefillin, he's not the kakafta d'leimunach tefillin, put on tefillin. But that's a kalta mitzvah. That's a cold mitzvah. That mitzvah doesn't nourish your Ruach HaKodesh. Put on tefillin in the morning, take out the tefillin, and you think to yourself, I'm putting on tefillin, the first thing is I'm doing the Ratzon HaBorei. Why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why am I putting these funny boxes on my hand and on my head? I'm doing this because this is the Ratzon HaBorei. I'm doing this because Barei Olam told me that this is what I should do. I'm doing this to be Mekayim Ratzon HaBorei. That's the Aleph base. Before you get to anything else. I'm doing it because God told me to. I'm doing it because I'm doing what my Creator said I should do. This is the Ratzon HaBorei, that's what I'm doing. Now, what am I doing by putting on tefillin? Well, in the tefillin, there's the parshas of Kriya Shema, Yichudoi v'Achdusai, we're being miyachid the Rebbeinu Shalom, how the Rebbeinu Shalom is the sole power, and I'm tying it on to me. This is symbolic of that I'm tying myself to the Rebbeinu Shalom. I'm being meshabed myself to the Rebbeinu Shalom, subjugating myself to the Rebbeinu Shalom. I'm putting tefillin on my head. Why on my head? Because that's the seat of my machshavas, of my thoughts. I want my thoughts to be proper thoughts. I want them to be pure. I want them to be good thoughts. And I'm being meshabed my thoughts to the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's a varma mitzvah. That's a mitzvah that nourishes and cultivates the Ruach HaKodesh. That makes the Ruach HaKodesh grow. So there's two lessons here. One is the simplistic approach to Olam Hazeh. You can't get caught up. You want to live a ruchniistic life. You want to be miyogar ba'alecha or miyishkain b'har kochecha. You got to get away from the gashmias. You can't get caught up in the gashmias. And not just caught up in the gashmias meaning fancy things and that's not what I mean. What I mean more than that is you can't get caught up in the gashmias in the gashmiistic value system. You have to get above it. You have to be able to switch over to a ruchniistic value system. The gashmiistic value system is what makes you get busy in the tachbulai sa'olam hazeh, because you're tied to the olam hazeh mindset. So I got to think into everything in olam hazeh. Everything is me. I got to figure it out, and I got to make it work, and I have to come up with a kunz, and I have to figure it out, and I have to do something that's going to work. That's a gashmiistic mindset. The ruchniistic mindset is there's a shtadlus I have to make. I'm making a shtadlus. The Baruch will take care of me. I did mine. Now what'll be. More than that, I'm not mechuyev to do. That's the one lesson. And the second lesson is that when we do mitzvahs, the mitzvahs have to be tamim dika, tamimis dika mitzvahs. We should know why we're doing mitzvahs. We should do our mitzvahs with a thought process. We should realize that we're serving the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's what we do when we do mitzvahs. That person is also miyogar ba'alecha, miyishkain bar kochecha. Now, if you have both of these lessons, you're getting out of a gashmiistic mindset, and you're getting into a ruchniistic mindset. You're getting out of thinking into olam hazeh, and you're getting into thinking into ruchnius. You're thinking into your mitzvahs. You see, that's the thing. Your approach to olam hazeh has to be simplistic. Your approach to ruchnius, that's complex. When it comes to ruchnius, someone will say, "No, I'm going to do my tefillin b'tamimus. Simple. I put on tefillin. I did enough." No, that's the way you got to treat olam hazeh. You treat olam hazeh in a simplistic way, but ruchnius, that's where you got to be tachbulos. That's where you got to get involved. That's where you got to scheme, and that's where you got to think into it. What could I do better? What could I do more? What could I try to add? What could I try to do better? So that's the first piece of this pasuk. Hölech tamim. Mitzvah Hashem, next week we'll go weiter.